The Atlanta Braves are just an absolute wagon, and it's looking like they're not gonna get stopped anytime soon. At the time of recording this, the Braves are currently the top team in MLB with a 61-30 record, but from June 1st to July 15th, they've been just unreal. They started June at 33-23, which means that during this run, they've gone 28-7, which is an 800 winning percentage, and over a full season, that would have them on pace for just under 130 wins. Now that's obviously not sustainable, and over their last 7 games, they've come back down to earth a bit and gone 4-3, but just how dominant they've been during this run is absolutely ridiculous. During this time, they've been first in all of baseball in batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, and WRC plus by a lot. As a team, right? As a team, they slashed 295, 360, 549 with a 910 OPS, good for a 141 WRC plus. As a team, I feel like I've said that enough to make that clear because that's just wild. To put this in perspective, their team WRC plus would be tied with Corbin Carroll, who's currently 11th in the major leagues, and their OPS is just a bit higher than his 905 OPS right now. So during this run, on average, this entire lineup has hit as good, if not a little bit better than Corbin Carroll. Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, Sean Murphy, Eddie Rosario, Ozzie Albies, Travis d'Arnaud, Michael Harris II, and Marcell Ozuna have all had OPSs over 850 and WRC pluses 129 or higher during their run. So the Braves lineup has had 8 hitters in it that have been at least about a 30% better hitter than league average. And you still have Austin Riley and Orlando Arcia in there, who are both All-Stars too. At the top, Acuna had an OPS of 1.073, hit 12 home runs and stole 20 bases, and Olson also had an OPS over 1,000 with a 1.008 OPS, hitting 13 homers too. The Braves also led MLB in home runs with 82, 19 more than the second place team, and led the league in runs scored with 231. 32 more than the next team. They've been able to put up these kinds of numbers because they've been hitting damn near everything really well, leading the league in hard contact over this stretch, and cutting down on the easy outs with the 5th best soft contact percentage as well, which is why even though they actually haven't been hitting too many balls in the air, when they do, they make it count by once again being first in homers per fly ball at 22.6%, over 5.5% higher than the second place team. And a big reason why they've been able to just absolutely crush baseballs like this is because they've been taking some of the best at-bats of any team in the league. 9th in walk percentage, but 2nd in strikeout percentage and walks per strikeout. So they've been making opposing pitchers just work to try to get them out, and as soon as they make a mistake, the Braves make them pay for it. But now, speaking of pitching, this gets us to the other part of the Braves, where the two sides of their pitching staff have been a little bit night and day. The starters have been 15th in ERA during this time, but 24th in fielding independent pitching. And I'll get to one of the biggest problems for them here in a second that some of you are probably already thinking of. Their main struggle has been giving up the long ball, where they've been 27th in home runs and 29th in homers per fly ball, which has them with the 23rd ranked slugging percentage allowed of any starting rotation. So mainly, these starters are just getting crushed way too often. But other than that, they haven't allowed too many base runners, still in the middle third of the league in average allowed, walk percentage, and whip, and they were 13th in strikeout percentage, but you can thank Quadzilla here for a lot of that. Speaking of the man, the myth, the mustache, Spencer Strider's been doing his thing here with an insane 35.5% strikeout rate, but he's put up a 4.6 ERA despite a 3.41 FIP in 8 games, mainly from giving up a 257 average and 1.5 homers per 9, both of these the highest of their 3 main starters during this time. Now, out of those other two, Charlie Morton's put up a 2.72 ERA and a 3.58 FIP in 8 games, striking out 27.4% of the batters that he faced, and allowing a .223 average and .8 homers per 9, but he has been walking guys at a 10% clip. And Bryce Elder hasn't had quite the same success that he had earlier in the season. That's my bad for making a video talking about how good he was doing. He put up a 4.69 ERA and a 5.29 FIP over 7 games during this stretch. We know he's not a strikeout guy, so his 14.2% K rate isn't that surprising, but his walk percentage over the stretch was a bit above league average at 8.9, and for a guy that really relies on command and pitching to contact, he really needs to get that back down. Then around these three, the Braves have had to shuffle in some guys and have found very little success with this, outside of Colby Allard, who had a 2.79 ERA and a 2.97 FIP in 2 games. But AJ Smith-Shawver had a 5.02 ERA and a 7.40 FIP in 3 games. Dylan Dodd had an 11.25 ERA and 14.28 FIP in his 1 game. Jared Schuster had a 5.02 ERA and a 5.17 FIP in 3 games. And I'm so happy for him to see Michael Soroka finally back from all his injuries, but he had a 5.02 ERA and a 6.98 FIP in his 3 games during this run. And a big reason why the Braves have had to shuffle around the rotation so much and really struggled here recently has been Kyle Wright and Max Fried have both spent time on the 60-day IL. Wright out with a strained shoulder and Fried with a strained forearm. But Fried did start a rehab assignment on July 9th, so hopefully we see him back here pretty soon. So with the rotation having the problems that it's had here recently, the Braves have really had to rely on their bullpen, and they've gotten more than they could have hoped for out of these guys. During this stretch, their bullpen has been first in ERA at 2.38, almost 0.5 higher than the next team, and also first in FIP at 3.08, with the next team at 3.22. The bullpen has led the league in getting Ks with the best strikeout percentage, while also being 5th in walk percentage, so just attacking hitters and keeping them to the 2nd lowest average allowed and the 3rd lowest homers per 9. So just all around dominant. By just going at hitters so much, they've kept opposing lineups from being able to square them up with the 3rd lowest hard contact percentage. So even though they've been the worst bullpen at getting ground balls, hitters aren't putting up numbers against them because they haven't been able to drive the ball really at all against these guys. Closer Raisel Iglesias had a 3.78 ERA, which was the highest of any of their relievers, by the way, and a 3.52 FIP in 17 games, getting hit around a bit with a 2.77 average allowed and 1.6 homers per 9, but struck out 32.4% of batters while also only walking 4.4. Then AJ Minter in 17 games had a 1.84 ERA and a 2.53 FIP, striking out 34.6% of the batters that he faced with a 125 average, but he did go on the 15-day IL July 12th with shoulder inflammation. But the Braves also had Ben Heller, Colin McHugh, Joe Jimenez, and Nick Anderson put up ERAs under 3 in at least 10 games. So this bullpen has been lights out and one of the deepest in baseball. And now, this is where I feel like I have to clarify some things from the video that I made about the Braves before the season started. The first of which is that now I know how to pronounce Travis d'Arnaud's name right thanks to your 50,000 comments about it. God, I make one mistake because my stupid brain just goes, I know how to pronounce that name. I don't need double check it. You f***ers can't let that go. I'm never forgetting that guy's name again. But now a lot of people commented on that video that the Braves aren't a dynasty yet. And I thought I explained my stance in that other video, but apparently I didn't do that very well, so that's my bad. This is what I think. By the definition of the word, are the Braves a dynasty at this moment? No. I agree with a lot of you that they have to win at least another World Series here soon to really cement themselves as a dynasty. But the point I was trying to make that I didn't do a very good job of narrowing down into a catchy enough YouTube title, and that's probably where most of the confusion was, which, like, sorry, but I kind of have to play the whole YouTube game here with that. I could have said potential dynasty, but didn't think that was going to work as well. And then by the time I realized that's what I definitely should have said, it was way too late. But my point was, go ahead and look across Major League Baseball and tell me another team that's in a better position to win multiple World Series over the next 5 to 10 years. I'll wait. Austin Riley is 26 and can be here through 2033 at 21.2 million AAV. Matt Olson is 29 and can be here through 2030 at 21 million. Ronald Acuna Jr. is 25 and can be here through 2028 at 12.5 million. God, that's a steal. Spencer Strider is 24 and can be here through 2029 at 12.5 million. Sean Murphy's 28 and can be here through 2029 at 12.16 million. Michael Harris II is 22 and can be here through 2032 at 9 million. And Ozzie Albies is 26 and can be here through 2027 at 5 million. Let alone you still have Max Fried with another year of arbitration, and both Kyle Wright and Bryce Elder haven't even hit arbitration yet. So the Braves still have time to sign those guys to long-term deals. Then even with all of this money that they have committed to these guys, the Braves came into this season with the 8th highest payroll. So they still have plenty of flexibility, especially with all of the club options that they have across this roster. This is one of, if not the most talented rosters in baseball, with an amazing young core of players that are basically all signed long-term for what most people would probably say is less than market value. The Braves are going to be one of, if not the best teams in baseball, year in and year out for at least the next 5 to 10 years. And there isn't a damn thing that anyone except the baseball gods can do about it. This organization has done probably the best job that I can think of since I snapped into baseball consciousness of identifying and developing talent, structuring their roster, and locking in their players at the exact right times for the exact right price. They may not be a dynasty right now, but I'm gonna shoot my shot on this and say that this team's gonna be the dynasty of this era in baseball. And if they aren't, they're either going to be the unluckiest team ever or the biggest chokers, bust, whatever you want to call them, maybe of all time. So no pressure. But let me know what you guys think about all this. Comment below. How good have the Braves been? How good are they going to be, and for how long? And am I being absolutely crazy with all this, or is this the best run organization that we've seen in a long time? God, I've been trying to put off talking about this team for a while, but that comment section and the Braves themselves have just forced my hand on this. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It helps the channel out a bunch, and you get to see more baseball content like this when we put out new videos on Wednesdays and Sundays. Go ahead and check out the video that's on your screen now to see how MLB's new rule changes impacted the game in the first half of this season compared to last season. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day. I'm getting out of here.